Hey YouTube, it is June 28th, 2017, and it's your boy Pasha. Um, I'm making this video because a very interesting subject came up probably about a week ago, and I really wanted to make a video about it um, and ask a question, honestly. We were watching a show, I believe, and it said something about time travel. But basically, the character went back and was able to talk to themselves or see themselves as a kid. And I know what you're thinking. It was the kid with Bruce Willis. It wasn't. Good movie though. You should watch that if you haven't. But no, this was some show we were watching, and so kind of we went around the room and we were talking about what we would say to ourselves if we went back to our 10-year-old self. Um, Now, everybody else in the room with me was cisgender. So, my experience of going back to my 10-year-old self would be different than their experience going back to their 10-year-old self. And my answer was easy. If I went back to my 10-year-old self, I I mean I think that I would be a little freaked out for a little bit, I think, but happy, because I know me at 10. So if I went back and found myself at 10 years old and was like, hey, Pash, I'm you in the future, I think my 10-year-old self would be like, I was 10 in 1986. So I didn't know any transgender people. I didn't know transgender existed. But I was a kid who always was convinced that I would grow up and be a man one day. Or that was my wish. And I don't think I was at 10. Here's the thing: at 10 years old, you have like a combination of things, right? You're old enough to know certain things, but you're young enough to still wish certain things. And so I guess it would be like at 10 years old somebody telling me that Santa Claus exists for real. And so I think that kind of would be kind of the equivalent, because at 10 years old I knew Santa Claus didn't exist, but I was young enough to hope that he did. And so if somebody came and was like, no, for real, Santa Claus exists, don't worry about it, then I would be ecstatic. Like, oh man, all this time I thought he didn't exist, but he really does. So I think it'd be along that same plane, because I was young enough to still hope that was the end result for my life, but old enough to know that that is not what most people thought, and that it wasn't very likely, you know. So I think I would be really really happy. As a matter of fact, I know that I would be. Um, and the adult in me kind of wishes that I could go back to that kid and be like, "Hey, kid, uh, don't worry about it. Chill out. You're gonna be all right. This is our dreams come true. This is who we are." And but it would have changed everything about my life, and I don't really know how. And I'm actually happy. I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy and confident in who I am, both as a trans man and as a Jesus follower. In fact, my being a Jesus follower actually solidified my confidence in who I was as a trans man. The I don't remember a lot specifically. I wish I had done more videos about this, but in all honesty, before I ever did a video, I did my first video. I think I was taking my second shot of tea, and but it had been about 7, 8 months since I had come out as trans. So I don't have any real record of my original like few months of like telling close friends, family. So, but I do remember my very first statement. And I remember when my very first sentence that I was out loud, a revelation that I was actually transgender to someone else. I remember being very nervous and wondering what that meant. What would that how that was going to change my life as far as my relationships, my people, especially my wife. Um, So I remember all of those feelings on the inside, and I remember being extremely nervous. Um, also, um, but the first few months, I remember the first few months being very rickety, um, as far as who I was and what God thought about me. Um, God was actually my biggest fan and biggest supporter. My first few months, He kept reminding me who I was and telling me you're good. You know, if almost audibly, um, but it was a reassurance that was over and over again that finally made me be firm on the foundation of who I was. So basically, my confidence I find in myself as a trans guy is founded on the fact that on my faith, and so and my belief, and anyway, and so because of that foundation, it allows me to weather the storms of the people who say, especially those first few months, because I remember those first few months, especially people close to me, kept giving me scriptures about who I was supposed to be, and who God had made me, and it was God telling me who I was supposed to be and who had made me, and in His teachings and Jesus's teachings that actually gave me the firm foundation, so that so that everything else became white noise. That way, and so in that I don't have that fight. I don't have that fight about, well, maybe, but I don't. I'm very confident in who I am as me. Um, Now, there's still a fight to be fought because there's still things that are going on and things like that. But as far as that internal struggle, I don't go through that. And every now and then, I do kind of think, uh, okay, yeah, I guess I'm kind of weird. But I only think that when I think, well, I don't understand why everybody's acting. We'll have issues with people that I used to be close to or whatever. And then it would be like, well, I don't know why they're acting so weird. I don't understand why they can't why they're acting so strange with me. And then I'm like, oh, well, okay, all right, people are funny, so I'll give them that. But otherwise, I did a video once that said I'm trans. It's weird because I forget, because I'm just me, and it's not an internal struggle that I deal with every day. Even as I've gone along in my transformation, both as a Jesus follower and as a trans man, um, I got to tell you, I lost the dysphoria. I guess that's kind of the name for it. But as I just embrace the fact that I am who I am at this moment, and that doesn't change. I'm still me. I'm me here at 2 weeks on T. I'm me at 1 year on T. I'm me at 2 years on T. And now it's almost 3 years, and I'm still me. And I'm still the same me that I was then. I can watch my old videos. I don't very often because really I don't know. I don't know why I don't, honestly. Sometimes I do go back, especially my first few, because I like to see where my mind was at, and I like to hear my voice. Because where I had a hard time getting into this voice, and I think I even did, which is funny because I didn't even remember that, but I did a video about it, that I had a hard time hearing myself because I didn't sound like me, which is funny now because when I go back and watch those videos, I don't sound like me, and I say I sound like a chipmunk, but either way, it amuses me, and I like to watch, especially the the very first video I did. I've actually watched that one about 3 or 4 times. It's amazing to see the transition from then until now in my thought process, and it's amazing to hear my voice and just see me. And because even in that video, I was very confident in who I was as a man. And as you can, if you ever go back and watch that video, I by anybody's probably standards, in this society, I didn't look like or sound like a man, but to me, I did because I was confident in who I was as a guy, and as a trans man or as a man in general, and so just thinking that and going and talking about and talking about going back to my younger self really got me thinking about this journey that I've been on, both as a trans man and as a Jesus follower, and it's just amazing. It's amazing, and there's this song that's by Lucas Graham, and it's called "My Funeral," and everybody else, when I play it, I think they think it's kind of morbid, but I love that song, and I love it because one of the chorus is like, "It's my funeral, everybody should be wasted," but basically it said, "Because this life I live was amazing," and every time I hear that song, that's all I can think is this life I've lived is amazing. It is amazing to be who I was and who I am. It is amazing that that little kid that used to sit in the mirror and hope with everything. Man, if you just knew, hope with everything in me. Just, I remember sitting in the mirror and I had real long hair and I would pull it back, real tight into this ponytail, right? And I would look at my bone structure and I would be like, I just, everything in me was like, man, if I could just grow up into the man that I want to be. And when I think of that kid and then I see myself every day and I live this life, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I wouldn't change it, which is also why I couldn't go back and tell my 10-year-old self, because part of that struggle to get from there to here is part of who's made me who I am. Part of that struggle to get from there to here is why I have such a relationship and why I'm such a dedicated, firm Jesus follower. And I don't know, it's amazing. And every day I think about it and I think how amazing my life is and this journey that I'm on. And I love it. All right, YouTube, you know the deal. Questions, comments, concerns. Hey, please, questions, comments, concerns, comments. Go ahead and subscribe. I was looking through my little, I guess they give you this, you can tell how seriously I take this because I don't even pay attention, but they give you this little analytical page or whatever. So I probably do a giveaway or something, but I like 30 more subscribers and I can change my account to a personalized account, which I would love to do. So I'm not just YouTube user. So I never ask for subscribers because honestly, I really normally don't care. I'm glad when you guys subscribe, I really am, but I normally don't chase subscribers. But it'd be cool to go ahead and have a little personalized so that I can be Jesus follower, FTM or whatever. But please, on this one, comment. Let me know, what would you tell yourself if you went back? You were 10 years old. What would you say to yourself if you could go back right now? All right, hit me up on my Facebook page, Rejects for Christ, or on my Twitter, New Creation 0215. Later, YouTube.